Hello, and we thank you for coming back to this visit at the table with Chef Jay. Today we have an amazing guest, Miss Angela Geiger. So could you tell us a little bit about your background?
Wow, well, Judy, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. I've gotten to cook for Chef Jay, guys, so this is crazy. But thank you all so much for having me here, you and Nate. So a little bit about my background. As you know, I do life insurance and I focus on final expenses. Been doing that for a few years, but prior to that, I'm also a 20+ year veteran, U.S. Army retired. I'm retired as a first sergeant, so I'm really proud of that. And just looking for that day when I can just sail on home and be at home and just travel some more without any other responsibilities. But today, I've got a huge responsibility, and that is that I've got to cook with Chef Jay.
We are so excited. So when you say travel, you need to come and join us with Africa. We're going to Africa in 2024. We'd love to have you.
Ooh, that sounds nice. Africa sounds nice, but one of my favorite trips has always been Greece. So I do want to make it to Greece before I make it to Africa. So
we'll
Greece is
that.
one of my favorites.
Right, we'll consider that. So today I want you to tell us a little bit about the story behind the dishes you're going to do, and also we want you to show us how to put the dish together, prepare it, and so that way artists can have a memory of this dish from your mom, I understand.
All right, so guys, my dish is really simple. It is cube steak with white rice. It could be with fried corn, or if you've got like corn on the cob, and smothered in gravy with mushrooms and onions. I know it sounds really simple, but it's my favorite meal, and it's my favorite meal because my mom always made it for me. And when she made it for me, it just added a level of comfort. So as I got older, I wanted to make the dish and perfect the dish, and I've now made it for her, and she's like, you made it just as great as I've made it, so I know I'm on to something. So that is my favorite meal that we're going to make today.
And so that is the whole idea of At the Table with Chef Jay, being able to get those recipes and dishes passed down from our parents and our ancestors, and being able to enjoy those same dishes that they have prepared, for us, that we have so many stories and love behind. So that's what I discovered about our ancestors. A lot of times, that was how they showed up. By fixing a nice meal, sitting at the table together with the family and friends around, and just having a good time. And so that is my love language, is that people can come in the studio space, their studio space, where they can enjoy great food, delicious food, and we're just so excited about this particular dish. So you can tell us what you're going to do with it and show us how to do it.
All right, so I've got the cube steak, I've got some flour, we've got some oil that's heating, I've got some seasoning, and I've got a little plate with a paper towel that you can just dab that oil off with. So of course, everyone, I know there's always that big discussion. Do you wash the meat, not wash the meat, wash the meat? But this meat's already been rinsed off and patted. So first thing we're gonna do is season it. So you get some really nice cuts of cube steak. Get that from your local grocery store, wherever you get your meat from. And then you season it with whatever seasonings that you like. My preference is to keep the meat simple, using some garlic powder, salt and pepper, and also some onion powder. So I've got a little onion powder to sprinkle on the meat, and sprinkled both sides, front and back. I usually like to do my first layer seasoning first, get everything, got me a little Lowry's. Yeah, Lowry's goes a long way. Try to get the one with low sodium so you're not having too much sodium within your meal. And then of course, pepper. I am a pepper girl all through and through. My mother says I'm a little heavy-handed on pepper sometimes. And then salt. Now, table salt is okay, but try to use some sea salt or something low, that's low in sodium so you're not having too high of a salt content. Then flip that meat over. Do the same thing once again. Let me wipe my hands off. Do the same thing, a little bit of onion powder. You've got your garlic powder. You've got your Lowry seasoning, salt and pepper. And yes, 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 you're gonna have a delicious taste to your meat, because we always want our meat to be seasoned. Just don't be too heavy-handed, but you know what? Whatever you like, it's your food, that's what you do, okay? So the next thing we're gonna do is dredge the meat in flour. Now, some people don't like it. We've got our oil heating up. Miss Judy's got that going for me. Dredge your meat in flour. Some people don't like to do it with their hands. Now, when you're home, you do it the way you want to do it because you're cooking for your family. But I always like to put put a little bit. Now I will tell you a little secret that I always do. I haven't done it here, but I'll share it with you. When you're dredging your meat, any seasoning that you put on your meat, put it in your flour also, because it gives that extra zazz to your meat, okay? So then we're gonna go ahead and lay our meat in. Just be very careful, okay? And do the next one also. Get it all floured up. I know we make a little mess when we got it all floured, but it's okay. That's what the kitchen's for. That's why we use the kitchen. Kitchen not supposed to be nice and neat only after you've cooked. But you know when it's a good meal, when everything is all, we got about a million pots all dirty in the kitchen. That's when you know it's gonna be a great meal. And then I've got one more to place in. I think we got a little room there for that. Get everything nice and sizzling. Get it all well incorporated with the flour. And let's move it over a little bit. Ah, there you go.
Perfection.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. At this point, you can take your gloves off if you decide to do that. You got a little canister here, keep everything going. And then at this point, you just monitor. Now me, I always like to make sure I keep a nice, neat, clean space. So anytime that I'm cooking, I like to keep everything clean, wipe it down. You've got something to wipe it down with. We can wipe it down. Here we go. Yes. Keep it nice and neat. So you don't have anything left. And of course, I always got me a dishwasher. That's always my mom. Mom can wash those dishes for me while we're doing it. And then of course, we just let it sizzle. We got our pan heating up. It'll get started and get bubbling and going. And then you just monitor your meat when it's brown on one side. And I usually say for cube steak, probably about a good 5 minutes. Then turn it, and then another 5 minutes. It's just how tender you want it. For me, I don't like to cook it too well done because I'm then going to be putting it into my gravy mixture, and then it's going to cook down even more.
So that looks amazing delicious. So I can't wait to meet you at the table, and we're going to talk about the dish and show how you put everything together and your size together. I just love that, and it just looks amazing. Hello, friends. We're so glad you came back and joined us. We have this amazing Angela Geiger with us today. She has done this amazing dish. One of the dishes, her favorite dishes from her mom. Cube steak, rice and gravy, and corn with cornbread. And what I told her, I like the fact that she elevated her dish by adding peppers and colors and onions to her corn. I think that's amazing because that's what Chef Jay, she loves stuff that's elevated, and it doesn't take but a little bit of a little extra work. And I just want to thank you for that, for making that corn very special. And I can't wait to taste it.
But Judy, I had to be impressive. I just couldn't try to bring something too bland up in here for Chef Jay. I said, add a little color to it.
She did.
Hopefully that would impress. If nothing else, the corn would be impressive.
You passed the test. What an amazing plate. Okay. She, like I said, she elevated up with that corn with all the different colors. I love that. With that rice and gravy, cornbread, and also that cube steak. I can't wait to taste it. And then we paired it with white Zinfandel wine. We always want to have a drink with our meals, whether it's water, tea, wine, or any type of special drink.
Yes.
But what I would like to ask you now, Angela, what is the importance, what message would you like to share with others about the importance of food and family?
Wow. So I'm going to tell you a little story, my military story. So when I was serving in the military, had a lot of soldiers, and I would see these soldiers running down to those little fast food joints, picking up French fries and hamburgers. You know, I'm a Southern girl, and Sundays is always a nice Sunday meal. And I was stationed in Wisconsin at Fort McCoy, so it's a little difficult trying to find collard greens and black-eyed peas, things that you normally can get so easily right here in the South. But I found them. So I went on a hunt, found everything that I needed, and I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cook a fabulous meal for the soldiers, and I'm going to let them have a great Sunday dinner. So I'm in there just whipping it up, and I remember I fried some chicken, I had a roast, macaroni and cheese, collard greens, even did some fried flounder. I made a banana pudding, and I also did a pound cake. pound cake. I said, I'm gonna do all this, and of course, washing it all down with some tea and some biscuits. I had it all ready. So when the soldiers were smelling the food, they was like, First Sergeant, that's you in there cooking? I said, yes, indeed. Dinner will be ready at 4 o'clock. Tell everybody. Now, I just thought a few people were going to show up.
Right.
When I looked out, I had a whole bunch of soldiers standing outside waiting to try my food. I said, all right, everybody's welcome. Let's everybody come on in. But very first thing before you grab a plate, we must say grace. So everybody held hands and we said grace and everybody dug in. And that moment in time, being able to feed the soldiers who were away from home, not getting a good meal, just eating unhealthy. And I knew if they were home with mom and dad, they would have had a better meal. And being from the South, some of us would have had that great Sunday meal. Just being able to do that for the soldiers, nobody had to pay me anything. It was all taken care of. It brought a lot of fellowship. Food brings people together, and good food makes people smile. And I knew afterwards, I saw some of the soldiers just laid back in the game room, full, and just thanking me. So that right there, when we have great food, it brings great fellowship, it brings great memories, and it's always a great memory to share. And I've shared it always with my family and my friends, how I've cooked for the soldiers. And I still have soldiers that serve with me, say, I remember when you cooked. And I could smell your food all the way outside. And I would have to choose kitchens to cook in because I had a different place where I lived as a first sergeant. I had to go and cook in different kitchens. And then the sergeant major heard about it and said, you know what, I'm hearing about that cooking. When am I going to get a plate? And so I had to cook a separate plate for him just so he could enjoy it. So great fellowship is what brings a great meal and brings great people together. So that's what I like about cooking and helping people to eat good food.
Good. Well, I tell you, that's amazing. I think that's an amazing story, especially for our soldiers, because sometimes they're all away from home and to have that special meal, especially from First Sergeant. That was right. I think that's so amazing. We thank you for that. So I'm going to try the dish right now.
Okay.
So I'm going to try this and tell you guys how it really is. Okay?
All right. Everybody's hold tight. I got my fingers crossed under the table.
Yes, I know she done did it. And we're so glad to have you at the table with Chef Jay.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, it's very tender.
Nice and
Look at
tender.
that. Look at that.
Everybody, nice and tender.
I'm telling you, I wish you was here to smell how good and delicious it smells.
And we had smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision, I'm telling you right now. So I'm going to be talking, so if you want to share that while I'm chewing, that's fine.
Alrighty, so I'm glad you enjoyed that. Now, I know this is one of my favorite meals, but I have another one, and one day we'll probably come back to this. It's my grandmother's vegetable soup. I was telling you this one time, my grandparents have a garden, and every time I saw my grandmother go get that okra, tomatoes, and corn, I knew my granddaddy was getting ready to have vegetable soup, and I was going to be right there waiting to get me some vegetable soup and cornbread. And I tell you what, when I got sick, was one thing that my Aunt Audrey, she knows how to make that vegetable soup. And I couldn't eat anything else, and she brought vegetable soup to me, and that was the only thing that I could eat. And I think it was because the memory of it was so soothing and comforting, and she was able to do that. Now, it made my mom a little jealous, because my mom was trying to cook everything for me, and she was like, oh, so it's the vegetable soup, right? I said, yes, it was the vegetable soup. But did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it, and I can't wait to finish off camera. But we want to thank you for visiting at the table with Chef Jay. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for
and
having me.
Thank you for sharing those amazing stories. And that's what is the mission and vision of At the Table with Chef Jay, to share those memories of our ancestors, their dishes, how they showed us love through food.